Boop. What is up? I'm Iran and I'm here today with a video review of What is up? I'm Ron and I'm here today with a video review of the 2021 Orbea Oiz. Alright, where do we start? Well, this is a XC race bike sold by Orbea from around 2019-2020 all the way through 2023 model year. And there was a new generation released in 2024, an update on this Oiz. So this was current all the way through 2023. What you have here is the 2021 model, no differences. This is the M series, so it features 100mm front rear suspension. There's also a Trail series 120 front and rear. I think this plays better as a 100mm bike, and I think I'll go over some of the points of that in the review. So the use case for me is, this is an XC race bike. It's 100mm front and rear. It's meant to be ridden fast. It's categorized and sort of sold as a bike that's going to give you all the efficiency you could ever need. An XC race bike. So, defining feature is the squid lock, remote lockout, which is not too different from most bikes in this category, especially in this time era. The build in front of you is not what I was running, but I can tell you that this extra large frame, which I rode at 6 feet tall, came in at 2,000 grams on the nose. Decently heavy paint job. That's going to include your rear shock mounted. No housing or cables or remotes for the lockout for that rear shock. That'll have your rear axle, rear derailleur, and seat post collar included in that weight. That's what I would consider a complete frame weight. In an extra large, 470 reach is what that bike is. It's pretty good. It's not the lightest. In 2021, it probably was pretty darn close. It's still very competitive today, and it's a beautiful frame. So what's the ride experience like? Well, it is an XC race bike. It's defined by that squid lock. Why is that different than a normal remote lockout? Well, it's a 3-position, but the middle position leaves the fork open and just firms up the rear a bit. So while this is not the most efficient bike when it's completely open, it's, a pretty good overall bike when it's completely open. But then you're able to use that middle setting where you can firm up the rear end, but not lose any sensitivity in the fork. And it's a really nice, firm XC race bike. And then it has a full lockout where it is fully rigid front and rear. So those 3 positions definitely define the ride experience. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. It's got a pretty short rear end. So this is an OMX carbon frame, which is only offered in the top spec. This is the M Team, so it uses the top spec OMX carbon. That's how you get that weight I had previously mentioned. It's also 5mm shorter rear end, 430mm. So this is an extra large 470 reach, 620 stack, 430 chainstay, 69-degree head tube angle, around 75-degree seat tube angle, I believe. So it's a pretty traditional XC bike. I don't really care if World Cup XCO is getting more gnarly. That doesn't change my trails. That doesn't change what I can ride an XC bike on or what I choose to ride an XC bike on. You can put 4-piston brakes and trail tires and a 35 mil bar on a bike and slack it out and say this is the most capable XC bike, but to me it's not an XC bike anymore. So this rides like a pretty classic XC race bike, but it's got a trick up its sleeve in the form of the squid lock. And I think in that sense it's awesome. It's a very nice XC race bike, and it's why I chose to own it. The geometry is a bit dated, so for me, I was in between and chose to size up. That wasn't really an issue. I accounted for the reach. I wanted the reach, but I had to account for an increase in stack. I accounted for that with a, kind of ridiculous stem most of the time. This has got the stock stem on it, but I was riding it with like a -17 or -25. But it's fine. It's otherwise the bike doesn't change. So I enjoyed a little bit more stability from that increase in reach, but the bike still felt really fast and easy to change direction with, which I enjoy as more of a lowlands XC rider. I did take it up plenty of big mountain stuff, from Colorado to central Pennsylvania, and was thoroughly impressed by it. I'm not shy about riding a steep angled bike, so I rode it down plenty of stuff. I think it's a really nice riding experience though, and it's just more efficient and more dynamic than your average XC race bike because of the squid lock and how useful the middle setting is. And what about the ownership experience? So there's really only two sides of the coin here for me. It's what's it like to ride and what's it like to own. I'm an at-home mechanic. I do everything I can at home. I buy tools when I want to do new jobs. So I've had no real issues working on this bike, and I've found it to be really a joy to live with and just really well finished and really well executed. So I've enjoyed the bike a ton. There is only one hiccup to the ownership experience. So if you want to get creative with suspension, you're going to be a little challenged. This features Fox suspension, which uses a push to unlock system, and you're going to be hard pressed to find another push to unlock fork or shock to make a match. I think in the end, the 32 step cast fork limits the capabilities of the bike in the way that a 32 millimeter fork can't keep up with what a XC bike with a dropper and what modern riders are doing on those bikes. So I wouldn't try to make this into a bike that it isn't. To that point, this is an XC race bike, and it's fully capable as one. Maybe put a volume spacer in the 32 and call it a day. It does have, there is the option to forego a lockout on your fork and maybe put some other damper in there. Put some different fork on this bike, but you could try, with a brain fork. That would be an interesting setup for this bike, or probably any, XC bike of this nature. So overall, it's a great XC bike. In 2024, I think if you're a lowlands rider, it could still be a great option. If your trails have not gotten gnarlier and you're looking for something that's quick and capable and well composed and easy to own and a very good looking bike, it's great on the scales as well. I think I had one that was built around 9 kilograms. It's a great bike. This isn't a modern downcountry bike. This isn't even a modern XC bike that, is really a cross-label downcountry bike. It's a 100 millimeter XC bike. It behaves like one, and it does that job really well. That's all I got to say about the Orbea Oiz. Peace.